Hi beautiful friends, welcome to today's video. I have a really fun topic to talk about today. Something that is, it might be, this is a pretty specific conversation and one that I don't hear being had a lot in the conversations around awakening and ascension and consciousness and, just all together really wanting to be the best that we can be within our family dynamics. And that's what I feel really passionate to show up and continue to talk about. So my name is Katherine Live, and I absolutely love talking about conscious motherhood, my journey in motherhood, spiritual awakening and consciousness. This has been my, full-time really study and embodiment, just throwing myself into it over the last, 7 years or so. I'm really excited to have today's conversation about the karmic marriage. I want to talk about long-term partnership. And for those of you who are mothers, when you become a mother, partnership there's like an atomic bomb that goes off in your relationship, and not necessarily in a bad way. It's just that everything changes, that you change as a woman, right? You step through those gates into motherhood. And maybe for some of you, if you don't have children, if you step into entrepreneurship or leadership or a totally new version of yourself where you are depending on your own inner mother to guide you, and that's what your embodiment is all about now. It's the mother, it's the creator energy in a feminine form, right? That's what, to me, that is what the mother, it is the call to be embodied as a woman, as a creator, right? We are not victims of our reality, and we are mothering the process, right? So we are emotionally available, we are spiritually mature, or, on that path to just really being able to be self-resourced as much as possible, and surrounding ourselves with incredible community and support, and surrounding ourselves with those who encourage us and uplift us, right? That's a lot. Now to be in what I'm going to call for this video a karmic marriage, while all of that is going on, there's a lot of moving parts for the mother. There's a lot of moving parts. So what do I mean by karmic marriage? This is just a phrase that I'm going to just use for this video, where it's not a thing. I don't know if this isn't, I haven't heard this phrase anywhere except for in my conversations with my good friend Sarah LaRosa, who's in the Conscious Motherhood Masterclass. We had the most beautiful conversation in there that I want all mothers to hear, because she's such an incredible, solid woman. And we talk all the time, and we talk about this idea of a karmic marriage, right? Someone that you've partnered with, you've decided to have children with, and spirit says to you with this relationship that you are staying in this relationship. And you are both on this awakening journey. For me, I certainly feel that I am in what I would call a very karmic marriage. There was a big old list of things that my partner and I, my husband and I, decided we are going to learn together, and we are going to be very opposite of one another and have very different strengths, so that we can continue to sort of, we can help each other. When I have really low points, he can come in and be the strength and the spiritual maturity and the level-headedness. And then, when he has low points, I can come in with the grace and the compassion and, the truth that I think needs to be spoken. And in that karmic marriage, what is really interesting is that we are constantly listening to navigate when is it time to speak the truth that you feel like you're seeing going around, and when is it time and when is it not that time, right? So I just felt like it was important to make a dedicated video to this topic because there's so much out there about dating or about twin flames and about this like the relationship of all relationships and divine partnership. And that isn't what I'm doing. What I'm doing is where I feel that I have, at this point, I've put in over 10 years with one man and navigated mountains of pain and struggle. And through all of that, I believe that we are continuing to work towards this beautiful balance and this beautiful divine partnership. But I didn't design my blueprint and my path to just drop in and there he is and he's all figured out and I'm all figured out, and now we've done all the inner work and now we come together and it's this really dreamy thing. That's not what I'm doing. And I just want to be honest about that. I just want to be honest about that there's nothing, that's just what it is. That's just what it is for me. Now, why is it that way for me? Because I decided to choose an accelerated path. And maybe you did too, if you think that you sort of match into that, what I'm talking about, this karmic marriage. It's not, everyone is not going through this. In fact, I have a few friends who are this much in their devotion sort of to their partnership and to their family, where they are willing to be honest and continue to listen to spirit. And let me just be clear, right now, and I was talking to my beautiful friend Sarah LaRosa about this. We were sharing reflections with one another, and we were talking about how right now in this season, it's stay, but to continue, but you always being open to the next now moment of what spirit wants to guide you towards, because right now things are shifting very, very, very quickly. However, I know for myself, I am in a position where things are not perfect in my relationship, but things are very honest, things are very raw, things are very nurturing in that way, that I do have someone that I can be my full primal woman, human self, learning a lot, reflecting a lot, seeing a lot, learning so much in the container of relationship, while simultaneously navigating motherhood, entrepreneurship, spiritual awakening, just basic self-care, right? So I felt like I wanted to put a name to what I think a lot of mothers, right, when we decide to have children with a man, it's different. Things become very different. Obviously, I am not saying if there's any sort of abuse going on to tolerate that, to stick around for that. That's absolutely not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about are the women like myself who are with pretty good men, right? Pretty good men, really devoted, really hardworking, really wanting the best for our family and doing it very imperfectly, being as present as possible. And even with that, it's a hot mess. And I think it's okay. My beautiful friends, I think that it's okay that that's what that looks like sometimes. What I think can be difficult in this present age of the twin flame and the inspiration that we can find, especially online or in books, about kind of a fairy tale relationship, this is such an interesting thing, because I know as my innocence, and maybe yours too, sis, where it's just like you want to hold that vision for real and just incredible romance, beauty, passion, desire, and wholeness with your partner. I do that too. I have that vision too. And then there's, living our human lives and what that actually looks like a lot of the time. And what that actually looks like a lot of the time is just like really working on communication, trying new systems, trying new apps to share a grocery list and to share a budget, and trying new ways of communicating, trying, to understand and setting aside time to really listen to your own heart and what it is that your heart really needs right now. And when you get to this point in these karmic marriages, sometimes the best thing that you can do is you just take space from that relationship to truly focus on your own heart, on your creativity, on really giving your space from making love or from being intimate with one another. Why? So that your energetic field can be completely consumed with your energy. Okay? These are all seasons that are very normal in a long-term sort of like karmic contract between a man and a woman. And I have come to this place where it's just like accepting that is so much, that there's seasons, right? There's seasons. Mary Magdalene came to me around Easter. So beautiful. And I had reached a point of like, it's over. I am done. All of this energy as women that we pour into our families, into our partners, into the homes that we live in, and right, like we're moving into this new house, and I feel like my guts are just like being poured out of me every day, and I wasn't doing a great job of like, nourishing myself and taking really good care of myself. And what is it that can sometimes happen when we get into that, right? It's his fault. It's like, why aren't you seeing that like you could step in and really help take care of some things, right? I know that's a universal conversation, that I'm not the only one having that, right? Especially when you're going through life transitions and there's a lot of success happening and a lot of good things happening. That is when I have found that my relationship, it's like, can the relationship keep up with the pace of how good life is getting? It's really, really interesting. So I had reached a point though, where I was like, okay, nope, I'm done. I'm checking out of this container, of this relationship, right? Set really strong boundaries around it. Like really needed to become very, come back to myself. Okay. So I did that. And that felt great. But then Mary Magdalene came to me, and she was just sort of like, is this really what you want? Is this, the energy that you have right now, is this really your most authentic version of yourself in your partnership? And then that's what, and it's so beautiful with these ascended masters, right? Because then there's like a softening, and then it's like, okay, no. And you connect back to that vision I talked about earlier, right? And how can I show up again and again and again and again? And this is over decades, like this is over so many years. So when Mary Magdalene came to me around Easter and was, just sort of asking like, are you happy with this? Is this really, is this the best that you can do, that you want? What I had to humbly listen to is just like, okay, there is I could try a few other things. I could try a few other things right now. And so what I was guided to do was to wash my husband's feet and give him, and wash his back, and wash the back of his head and his forehead and his hands and his forearms, right? The hands and the feet and the mouth are very, very incredible psychic centers, right? They do a lot and they pick up a lot. And I've talked about that in my how to, become more psychic video, which I'll try to remember to link here. When you, as the mother, as the woman, after a while where you've just been feeling like the mule, like carrying the family forward, like you are the vision keeper and like you are guiding everyone in this way, and getting too much in that energy and not enough of the let me receive here. What was really fascinating about that practice of Mary Magdalene coming and being like, are you happy? It was like, it may not make sense in our mind that going and washing someone's feet is going to help that. But what it does is that it put me in a receptive state to allow spirit to flow through me in an act of service, in a true act of service, and not an act of organizing, visioning, or leading and calendars and to-do lists and all of those things, which I talk about very openly on this channel. Like all of those practical life things, those grounded, rooted, I'm a Taurus woman. I need, my physical reality is very important to me. Very important to me. And the way that things are in my home and in my life, it has to be this way, right? That feels most comfortable for me, right? But with that is a lot of organizing and a lot of things that I love to teach you guys about. Now, getting into that receptive, that Magdalene transmission of just like feminine service to this karmic marriage. Like, when was the last time that I truly showed up and did something of that level of like surrender and feminine healing? Each of you are absolutely incredible healers. Incredible. It's probably part of the reason that the man, if you're married, the person that you're with, like, they know that. They know that they are in a really good situation because like of your magic hands, of your magic touch. But in this time that we live in, that can be easy to forget or diminish, or just other things come first. If you find yourself in this kind of relationship that I'm talking about, where you guys are doing it, and even when you reach those points of like, I'm done, it's more of just like, I need some space from you. It's not that things are really done. It's just that like maybe you need a weekend at an Airbnb in the town over, and like a salt bath and like a total cleansing and reset of your energetic field outside of that partnership and of the family dynamic. That can do wonders. That can do absolute wonders. And I know for me, most of the time, spirit isn't saying like it's over. It's saying it's time for the resurrection. It's time for you to be in this life in a new way. It's time for you to be in this partnership in a new way. And it takes a lot of humility to take that in as as the woman who is the mother and the creator of the vision of my family. I take that really seriously, as you guys know. The other thing I feel is really important to share with an act of service like that, with that healing that you can show up with. And it doesn't have to look exactly the way that I spelled it out. It could be, I mean, you have your own magic and your own healing modalities and your own guides that you can tap into and really listen. Within my relationship, is there a way that I could show up to strengthen this relationship? Or is there a way that I could step away from it, which is going to strengthen this relationship? Both of those things have strengthened my relationship. What I feel is really important to share with something like that is if you find yourself, right, you offer up that act of service completely, you cannot have a quiver of resentment, contempt, any of that builds up, that compacts over years and years and, over a decade. That stuff can compact. You have to really clear yourself of any of those feelings first, because if you show up and open up a space where a man is expecting to receive a healing, right, and his heart opens to you, and then there's a thing, an energy, a psychic attack of like contempt, it's gonna really hurt things quite a bit. So there's a lot of wisdom that you have in knowing how to properly show up to a healing like that as a woman. And, someone who is probably like really intuitively connected to priestess arts in that way. What I know after an act of service like that, if there isn't a shift, that will give you so much information, okay? Now that shouldn't be the reason to inspire you into that act of service. That is a heart healing service, right? However, you will have the information that you need after, if you pour in all of you, you're in 10 out of 10, and then you are still not feeling seen, or you're not feeling respected, if there's not an understanding of what just took place, that's really good information for you to have. I'm not going to be here and say like leave or don't leave or whatever. You will have the information then that you need after like that. You totally open up your heart and pour, all of your goodness like that. You're going to have answers. So as we just came out of that Easter portal, and I had such a beautiful time really being mentored in a new way with Mary Magdalene, that just felt like something to speak to. Those sorts of family dynamics, those long-term marriages where you don't see yourself being with anyone else, but you don't really see how you're going to do it for much longer. I think that is really normal. Even if you are on a really accelerated awakening journey, there are highs and there are lows. And then there's highs again, and then there's some dips again. And I think, what I'm noticing for sure though, in my relationship, what used to be these really super highs and these really awful lows, it kind of just gets like this then. It's like, it's more of, there's some consistency. There's things I can depend on. There's rhythms that I'm aware of, right? And so you can kind of prepare yourself for those. Well, I hope this was a helpful video, and I tried to keep this really as broad as possible, talking about like a karmic marriage and these karmic contracts that we have with like a husband and wife with children. This is an endless conversation, but I just wanted to get it going today. And I would really love to hear more in the comments if you have specific questions, or like, do you know what I'm talking about? Are you in a relationship like that? And how is it going navigating it in 2021? as so much is changing around us and so much is changing within you, as I'm sure is happening this year and this spring. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'm going to link some resources for you below that you can check out. I would really love it if you did. And I will chat with you guys in the comments and see you in the next video.